Kyle, we made it. Friends, welcome back to another staff check-in, post-conference edition. And we literally just got back, literally overusing that word these days, literally just got back to our Lexington offices and Kyle to the Midwest not too long ago, but we're still conference fresh on the brain. Before we go any further, quick shout out. Thank you to Dear Scout for supporting ACA New England, staff check-ins, all the content we put out and all the connections we try to make with you all. It was great to see Dear Scout at the conference because if you're not familiar with Dear Scout, they are I would say innovative. They are a new kind of approach or idea to addressing mental health in your staff at camp and how to support that and how to triage or best meet the needs of your staffers throughout the summer. So it was nice to see them there. And that parlayed perfectly into our Saturday plenary, which is what we're here to talk about, Kyle. And how would you describe it for the folks who weren't there? What was our, a lot of times conferences will have a keynote or two keynotes. We had a keynote. Dr. PBJ was wonderful, fantastic, phenomenal. We'll go down that rabbit hole another day. But our Saturday plenary is something I want to draw attention to. And how would you describe the way we organized and put on the Saturday general session, what its kind of theme was, and then we'll talk about the content.
How would I describe it? That's a great question. I think refreshing. I think that's the word that comes to mind because it felt like you're kind of taking you're dipping a toe into the water of like what that camp environment is like in innovative ways that like I think that I personally had maybe an idea of what the topics would include before I like heard the presentations, and then when I heard it and saw it in action, I was blown away pretty consistently throughout. Is that kind of like how you felt, Bud?
I was definitely blown away. So if you weren't at the conference, our Saturday morning plenary session, the theme or the topic was program innovations at camp. People are always looking at ways to keep things fresh, maybe without breaking the bank, or what might take some resources behind it, but finding some things that folks are doing and giving them a platform to share it, but make sure that it was kind of unique, uniform, accessible. And so the conference committee researched and found this thing, Checkin, I think is how we took to calling it Project PK or Powered by PK. I was calling it Project PK. But Checkin is a presentation style, God bless you, where you take basically 20 slides, 20 seconds per slide, comes out to like, 7 minutes? I didn't really do the math. And you start, and your slide presentation is just going behind you, automatically timed. And so it forces you kind of stay with a cadence, kind of deliver it, tighten it up. And it also made it accessible again. People could see themselves up there doing it. The age range between our presenters went from, we had somebody who was in high school, fresh out of one of the CIT, LIT programs that was on display, all the way up to one of our senior presenters who has been a visitor with us forever, and he's a college professor still, and he was talking about environmental art. And so the program topics, and these are the reasons you go to conferences, folks. This is the reason you sign up and show up, and you do sit down for the hour and a half in the assembly or in the armory instead of going out and getting coffee with a friend. Not that friends aren't important, but if you were there, you would have learned a little bit about fish painting, literally taking dead fish, or synthetic fish. You can get these things on Amazon, whatever. You don't have to actually kill the fish, but painting with those fish for record keeping purposes. It was a cultural experience. Somebody was up there talking about how to create artwork with just the things that are around you and how you can really build a sustainable and educational program around that. Again, we saw an excellent CIT, LIT program. We saw somebody deliver a curricula or a curriculum for developing emerging leaders, both at your camp and helping them be better leaders for whatever job they might have coming down the pike. We saw hatchet throwing as kind of a therapeutic exercise for the camp that was displaying it. There was Banana Olympics. That's exactly as interesting and intriguing. And I was crying a little bit laughing at the presentation because of how much fun it was. What am I missing? I ripped through all of them, but I think I might have been missing one there. We had the fish painting, environmental art, the CITL, LARPing, live action role playing. We had our friend Chris Wiley from Story School. He was out there, and I heard a lot of camps who were interested in LARPing. And when you understand the philosophy behind it and why people are trying to turn to LARPing and things like that, and the lessons and the opportunities it gives children to grow. These were all the emotions and things that came into that, hour-long program that we saw seven different things. So what did I overstate, or what am I missing? What was your big takeaway? What I obviously was intrigued by the Banana Olympics, side
Sure.
splitting stuff. You got to check that out. But what did you see in there that you walked away and you were kind of like, huh, didn't know about that?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for me was the personal connection that the presenters made with the audience. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you why. So, Chris and Laura, you mentioned the LARPing session.
Yep.
Their session really spoke to me. From the Story School, that's the organization that they're coming from. I found myself actually feeling a little bit emotional when I was hearing it because I had this pre-existing idea of what LARPing was, and then when I saw the pictures and the joy in the kids' faces and the excitement that was coming from Chris's presentation, um, it really kind of put into perspective for me that like Chris is somebody who dresses up for the conference. He like has like a Robin Hood outfit, and I think everybody thinks that's fun and it's like really cool, and it's kind of like his shtick. But to give him a voice, a public voice, where he's able to stand in front of camp peers and like really share what he does in an innovative way, made me feel a little bit emotional because he's quite literally innovating. Him and his team. Laura was up there as well, and the way that they connect with the kids, it just touched me because I think that it's such a I think that they reach their reach is incredible. I'll just leave it at that. And the way that they're able to use creativity, and like really empower youth autonomy within their own creativity as well, and kind of lean into that, was just next level. I really took away a lot from that. The environmental art thing, I'll make this quick, but I really love that as well because whenever like the gentleman got up there, the doctor, he was, I kind of had an idea that it would be like really nice bouquets or something. When you think of environmental art, you think of just like flowers, things that are already kind of naturally artistic. But the way that he was presenting, like just using pebbles on a lakeside to like form this ornate path, or using like patterns to build like a little gate or something like that. I was like, this is unbelievable. Just the way that they incorporate some of those things. And I just kind of felt this sense. I was sitting towards the front, but I kind of felt this sense of people kind of like leaning forward in their chair, um, and really being like, oh, I didn't even know the depth of like what this was. And so I kind of felt that throughout all of the presentations in one way or the other, from the audience. And that was just so encouraging for me to see like, wow, I'm so glad that these folks had a chance to share their innovation. And I think that they were so graciously generous with the materials and like the how to behind it all, that they were like, there was no gatekeeping. They're like, we use these things. And that was beautiful.
You nailed it. The accessibility to it, the personability to it, the whole theme of you can do this too. This is how we bring joy and education into our camps. And again, this is why people go to conferences. And there was a lot of active listening. You saw that kind of leaning into it because people were looking up there, and I heard no fewer than five conversations as I was just walking around the conference hall afterwards, where people going, oh God, next year we should share this, we should share
Yeah.
that. And I know that was part of the intent behind it, was to spark that kind of inspiration in, having people either find something new or discover something they're already doing, and giving it that lens, and hopefully moving forward giving people a platform to continue that kind of sharing. Because you're right, there's no gatekeeping. Camp is a community, and the New England camp community is second to none, which is why the New England Camp Conference is second to none. No better bang for your buck. Great people, great location, phenomenal team, phenomenal volunteers. Kyle, it was great seeing you in Manchester once again. Folks, keep on the lookout. Keep paying attention over the coming
That's
weeks and months. We've got great content and follow up and feedback coming from the conference. If you haven't done so already, do those conference evaluations. It's never too late. If
right.
you need any help finding them, email bud@acanewengland.org. Otherwise, head to your guidebook app. Kyle, glad to see you make it back to the Midwest safely, and we will see you next time, brother. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you so much.